If authors covered novels the way musicians cover songs, which covered novel would you be most excited to read?
Isaac Asimov covering Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, or vice versa, Douglas Adams covering Foundation. Ayn Rand's The Giving Tree.
To Kill a Mockingbird by Tennessee Williams.
Any classic by David Foster Wallace.
Stephen King's Where the Wild Things Are.
Roald Dahl covering Animal Farm by George Orwell.
I'd be interested to read Voltaire's take on the Gilded Age. Asterisk To Kill a Mockingbird by Bret Easton Ellis. Asterisk Tom Sawyer by Mark Z. Danielewski. Asterisk The Canterbury Tales by Ogden Nash.
On the Road by Aldous Huxley.
Stephen King rewrites of horror classics like Frankenstein and Dracula. WPULD be interesting and likely an improvement.
The Shining, Dr. Seuss edition.
I don't have an answer yet, but this is a great fucking question.
Stephen King's Goosebumps.
Kurt Vonnegut covering War of the Worlds.
Neil Gaiman's The Jungle Book. Oh wait.
Stephen King's The Bible.
George R.R. Martin does The Lord of the Rings. Each book is 800 pages long. We get viewpoints of all members of the Fellowship. More important characters die. More typical GRRM stuff. Romeo and Juliet by Lemony Snicket. Asterisk Dear viewer, asterisk if you entered this play with the hopes of seeing a light comedy, you would be better off searching elsewhere. This story may begin like a light comedy, when Romeo and Juliet meet and dance at Masquerade Ball, but don't be mistaken. If you know anything about the Montagues and Capulets, then you will know that no friendship between them will last. In fact, within these scenes, the couple must deal with the horrors of murderous in-laws, poisonous drinks, poetry, and mail arriving late. I am bound to tell the story of these tragic events, but you are free to exit this theater and go to A Midsummer Night's Dream next week. With all due respect, Lemony Snicket.
Douglas Adams 1984. Edit, thanks for my first gold, who would have thought this would blow up like that? Edit 2, I think I know what I will be doing tonight, watching Terry Gilliam's Brazil. The Road, written by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. 100 Years of Solitude, written by Cormac McCarthy.
Tolkien's The Bible.
The Jungle Book, Upton Sinclair Jr. We're not that kind of jungle.
Douglas Adams' Slaughterhouse-Five.
A Clockwork Orange by Chuck Palahniuk.
Neil Gaiman did a great mash-up of Lovecraft and Sherlock Holmes, A Study in Emerald.
Henry Miller covering Dangerous Liaisons.
Chuck Palahniuk covering Of Mice and Men would be intriguing.
The Hunger Games by Douglas Adams.
I'd pick Stephen King's cover of Valley of the Dolls, Philip Roth's cover of Eat, Pray, Love, and Harry Crew's cover of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Douglas Adams' version of the Narnia books. It'd be way better. Neil Gaiman's version of Outlander.
50 Shades of Grey by Drive, Seuss.
If Hemingway did War and Peace, smiley face. Also, this should be a thing that novelists do.
George R.R. Martin's lengthy descriptions of Hogwarts feasts.
Stephen King covering House of Leaves. If we can include comic book authors and cartoonists, perhaps Hirohiko Araki to take on Calvin and Hobbes. Dr. Seuss' The Art of War.
Cormac McCarthy's A Confederacy of Dunces. Kurt Vonnegut's cover of A Song of Ice and Fire. So it goes. So it goes. So it goes. So it goes. Here is a drawing of an asshole, Joffrey.jpg.
Stephen King's rendition of Harry Potter.
H.P. Lovecraft's The Holy Bible.
Kafka covers the Animorph series.
Sylvia Plath's Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Last one, I promise. Itol Calvino's The Shack.
George R.R. Martin writes Bambi.
My vote goes to Dostoevsky's take on Pride and Prejudice. Setting that novel in his Russia should be pure gold.
The Notebook by Milan Kundera. Jesus Christ, thank you so much for this.
The Martian by Jules Verne.
Star Trek writers' versions of all the Star Wars novels.
J.K. Rowling covers * 50 Shades of Grey, * full of kinky magic sex.
H.P. Lovecraft presents Jurassic Park.
Edgar Allan Poe's Captain Underpants.
Little House on the Prairie by William Faulkner.
The Maze Runner series by Philip Pullman. Pullman wrote his Dark Materials, a story about kids with actual adult themes. They even fucking kill God in it. If anyone could take the somewhat interesting premise that started the Maze Runner and actually turn it into something good, it would be him.
Hunter S. Thompson covering The Great Gatsby.
The autobiography of Malcolm X is told to Allen Ginsberg.
Stephen King, Twilight. Don Quixote de la Mancha by Cormac McCarthy.
Iliad and Odyssey by George R.R. Martin. I had so many thoughts on this question, I think I'm just going for karma at this point.
The Taming of the Shrew by Douglas Adams.
I feel like Chuck Palahniuk could cover the hell out of Moby Dick for some reason.
Lord of the Flies, by the guy who writes Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Neil Gaiman's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
J.K. Rowling's Matilda. I just think her style goes very well with dolls.
Neil Gaiman's The Phantom Tollbooth.
GRRM's Ender's Game. The Great Gatsby written by Virginia Woolf.
The Bible by L. Ron Hubbard. Oh wait.
Oh, I forgot H.G. Wells' Lord of the Rings. It starts in the middle of the Rivendell Council and ends right as they enter Mount Doom.
Till I only know like 5 different authors and one of them is Dr. Seuss.
Howard Phillips Lovecraft presents The Queer Case of One Harold Potter. The book is 220 pages long and ends with Harry seeing Voldemort on the back of that guy's head, taking a gun from Hagrid, and blowing his own brains out.
The Art of the Deal by Vladimir Putin.
Patrick Rothfuss covers The Shadow of the Wind.
Not a novel, but I'd love to read Apollo 13 retold by Andy Weir. George Orwell, Atlas Shrugged.
Lord of the Flies by Roald Dahl. The Wealth of Nations rewritten by Michael Lewis. Lewis writes about finance better than anyone. He has a unique way of simplifying complicated financial problems while telling a compelling story. It would be great to hear him insult countries for their poor financial techniques before they knew how they should measure wealth.
Mihail Bulgakov's Of Mice and Men is incredibly different.
R.L. Stein's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Edit, author's last name spelling.
Thomas Pynchon presents * Eat, Pray, Love *.
50 Shades of Grey by Jane Austen.
Dr. Seuss on the Communist Manifesto.
Cormac McCarthy's * The Giving Tree, or The Evening Sunset over Manhattan *.
Chuck Palahniuk's The Princess Bride.
Umberto Eco's version of The Club Dumas.
Neil Stephenson's Jurassic Park. The hacking bits would be way better and Muldoon would be replaced by the stock Neil Stephenson badass commando character, which would be kind of fun. Also, John Scalzi rewriting basically anything by Peter F. Hamilton.
Lord of the Rings by Cormac McCarthy. High fantasy violence and beautiful descriptions of Middle-earth. Dr. Seuss version of Mein Kampf.
Ray Bradbury on the Hunger Games trilogy.
50 Shades of Grey by Stephen King.
Dante's Inferno by Stephen King.
Catcher in the Rye by Hunter S. Thompson.
Agatha Christie does Game of Thrones.
Bukowski's Catcher in the Rye. Stephen King writes James and the Giant Peach.
Tom Clancy writes Lord of the Flies. Percy Jackson and the Olympians by China Miéville.
George R.R. Martin's version of Harry Potter.
Edgar Allan Poe, 1984. C.S. Lewis, The 120 Days of Sodom.
A Song of Mice and Fire by Brian Jacques.
I want Peter F. Hamilton's cover of Star Wars.
Don DeLillo's The Da Vinci Code.
Fuck man, I don't even know where to start, this is the most epic concept I can imagine. The Canterbury Tales, a graphic novel by Joss Whedon.
Hemingway covering Paris Hilton's Confession of an Heiress.
Terry Pratchett's A Game of Thrones book series.
A Wrinkle in Time by Cormac McCarthy.
Brandon Sanderson's A Song of Ice and Fire.
For pure ridiculousness, I'd kill to see how Jane Austen would tackle something like 50 Shades of Grey. E.L. James's version of Twilight. Terry Brooks's version of The Lord of the Rings. David Weber's version of Horatio Hornblower. Wait a minute, haven't read Brooks's, but Weber did a pretty good job.
Michael Crichton presents Rainbow Six. Or Tom Clancy presents Jurassic Park.
The Hobbit by Charles Bukowski.
Terry Pratchett writing a Jack Reacher novel.
Philip K. Dick's Moby Dick.
Haruki Murakami doing Slaughterhouse-5.
I'm only halfway down, but seriously, no Gaiman's Dune or Stranger in a Strange Land?
Question mark.
Hunter S. Thompson's Heart of Darkness.
GRRM's version of the last season of Game of Thrones.
A bit childish, but the monster at the end of this book by H.P. Lovecraft. Op, you need to get some of these big-name authors on board to do these for charity.
The Little Prince by Murakami Haruki.
Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events That Led to the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire * by the late Edward Gibbons *.
Tolkien's rendition of the novelization of Toy Story.
J.R.R. Tolkien's Harry Potter. I'd like to see his take on the expanded wizarding world and the greater depth he'd provide.
Ayn Rand's Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Terry Pratchett's Harry Potter. Rip Terry.
Fight Club by Thomas Harris.
Morrissey's Sex Barrel Roll book by P.G. Wodehouse.
Ready Player One by Stephen King.
Siddhartha by Hunter S. Thompson.
Aldous Huxley's version of Childhood's End.
Art of the Deal, but covered by actual Donald Trump with no ghostwriter or editor.
King or Rowling write Game of Thrones. Mostly just because they know how to finish a damn book series without waiting until they die of diabetes. Edit, I'm aware their endings can be subpar. I'm aware that Rowling will ruin it 5 years from now by saying that Jon Snow is a pedo or something. But any ending is better than no ending.
C.S. Lewis 50 Shades of Grey.
The Bible is written by the following supergroup: Tolkien on the poems and songs, Mordecai Richler on the dialogue, Stephen King on the narrative battle scenes, written by Bernard Cornwell with special telling of Salome, written by Oscar Wilde, and Margaret Atwood presents Lot's Tale.
Vonnegut's Star Wars.
Tao Te Ching, George Carlin. Knowing who is a fucking moron is intelligence, knowing that you aren't a fucking moron is true wisdom. Those who know how life works do not speak. Those who speak are often cornhole-eating mouth breathers that deserve to be tossed into a volcano. A man with outward courage dares to die like a fucking idiot, a man with inner courage dares to live and watch that arrogant asshole get blown to smithereens. The wise man is one who knows that he still has to wipe his own ass like everyone else.
The wife says she would take Edgar Allan Poe covers 50 Shades of Grey. I want an Edgar Allan Poe covers Harry Potter.
Machiavelli's version of the Bible.
Green Eggs and Ham by Karl Marx.
Harper Lee's A Song of Ice and Fire because the ending is revealed in the first 3 sentences but we wouldn't know it.
Clive Barker covering The Ender's Game with his own fantasy elements and deep elaborations thrown in.
Holy shit, this is a great question.
Consider subscribing.